Who controlled the Autopen? That's a question the Trump administration is raising. The DOJ's pardon attorney, Ed Martin, is leading a review of former President Biden's pardon, something Reuters first reported.
Here is White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt speaking out on the issue at yesterday's briefing.
Is this White House of the opinion that the only pardon that would count is one that the president signed himself?
The president is making a good point when he discusses the usage of the Autopen. Who was running the country for the past 4 years? Perhaps those documents were signed with the Autopen, something that I believe the Department of Justice is looking into. As you saw, Ed Martin made an announcement at the Department of Justice this morning to launch an investigation because the American people deserve answers.
Associate political science professor at University College of London, Thomas Gift, told Newsweek that nothing is likely to come from Martin's probe since the president has unilateral pardon power. He continued, quote, "If anything, the administration risks overreaching. The Trump White House also certainly doesn't want to get in a tit for tat over pardons, given that his first term, it was Trump who pardoned multiple U.S. service members accused or convicted of war crimes and a slew of political associates." We know that Trump uses the pardon power to reward his friends, political allies, and rich people who
Joe Biden pardoned his son. He pardoned his son.
It's the wrong tree to bark up is what I'm saying. It's the wrong tree to bark up for President Trump in particular. I don't mind presidents using their pardon power, but I think this is a political distraction. How does this have anything to do with anything else besides keeping Hunter Biden and Joe Biden in the news for a bad reason when you are currently president, so you can continue to blame them on the current state of affairs? We notice that this is the tactic that happens over and over again, and we know that Joe Biden is having a low moment, so Trump is taking the opportunity to kick him while he's down.
Look,
why, when there are plenty of policy things you can do?
Because it was nakedly
right
corrupt, and we're not over it yet. Look, I don't know that investigating this is going to do any good because the president, the person who's in the role of president, has broad power to issue pardons. I am not really even on the side of trying to restrain that power because I believe in criminal justice reform, and I think presidents have used this power in the past to commute the sentences or end the sentences of people who are really egregiously punished. That has been true of Trump, who has pardoned people that I am very glad he pardoned, including Ross Ulbricht, who was someone, the Libertarian Party, who was advocating for being pardoned for a very, very long time, and I am really glad about that. I think Biden's pardoning of Hunter Biden and a number of other people, the preemptive pardons for Democratic officials that might be looked at, and then worst of all, the preemptive pardon of Dr. Anthony Fauci, going all the way back in time to an era in which possibly, allegedly, he greenlit the gain-of-function research that might have caused the pandemic in the first place. I think that was one of the most catastrophic and monstrous decisions any president has made in my lifetime. Can anything be done about it now? Realistically, the answer is probably not, and this whole, well, he was not cognitively fit, so maybe it was Autopen or was somebody else, that kind of seems like a stretch to me, frankly. I wish it were the case. I wish we could look at it and undo these things, but I don't know that we can. And Republicans always want to have another investigation, another hearing, another committee meeting because they like being on TV and they like getting favorable clips for fun Fox News and Newsmax. And so conservatives go, look at how much they're fighting the deep state and fighting on behalf of Trump. Even though they're not really doing anything, they're just grandstanding on television. So whether anything will come of this, I would not be optimistic, and I would not want to make conservative people optimistic about it. But that is not to say that this is, I share their, not frustration underplays it, I share their outrage at Biden's pardons and some truly criminal or perhaps evil conduct that we can't look at closely because of what he did.
I'm a very consistent person, and just like I told Jasmine Crockett yesterday, I don't think that she should launch another inquiry into impeaching President Trump. I don't think that President Trump should launch any type of investigation into President Biden that's out of office, and he said that he was the worst president of all time. He called him Sleepy Joe. So move on. Why are we deep into your presidency?
What's done is done.
And you're still talking about this. What's done is done. Also, when we talk about like egregious pardons, President Trump pardoned all of the January 6th rioters. And when we talk about Autopen, right, he said he didn't want to review every single case because it would be too much. It would be too much. So Biden didn't review every single case. That's the argument, that he was on Autopen, someone else was reviewing it. Well, guess what, President Trump? You did the same thing by pardoning blanketly all the January 6th rioters, some of them who went right back to jail because they had problems and issues and past criminal records and ran into the police again and had the same type of issues where the misconduct put them right back in jail. So maybe if he had taken the time to actually review the people that he was pardoned, then he would affect the criminals who you don't like on the street and keep them in jail, as opposed to putting them back out into society to antagonize regular people who are just trying to enjoy their lives. So I think that this is not a good argument coming from Trump's team.
Democrats trying to constantly get criminals back out onto the street?
No, criminals. I think we're talking about justice reform. A lot of Biden's pardons focused on criminal justice reform, particularly when it came to low-level offense drug crimes and things like that. So I think that that's a different type of category than Trump, who pardons everyone, like a police officer that's taking bribes for roles.
The Kids for
like
Cash judge was back out because of Biden's pardons. That was a pretty egregious one.
Scott Jenkins, a Virginia police officer, was taking money for roles inside of a police office. That's not appropriate. The Chrisleys were scamming the IRS. All of his rich friends are scamming the IRS, and he's like, cool, go ahead. What? What do you mean?
The IRS is scamming us by taking too much of our money. Look, everybody's fighting.
Anybody who has shady financial dealings,
possible.
Trump is your guy. If you have a shady financial deal, he got you covered because he feels like you should be able to do whatever you want.
Except for Hunter Biden, your shady financial deals, the guy who's got your back is your father.
Well, I'm just telling you, he is not in a position to argue this. This is like barking up the extreme wrong tree, right? We know that this is not going to go anywhere. And we talk about wasting money and distracting. This is exactly what that is, because there's a lot on the table right now. But the more he keeps Joe Biden and Hunter Biden in the political conversation in a negative light, the more he looks like he came in and was a savior. But really, none of his policies have been enacted in any effective way. People are equally as uncomfortable financially.
Well, it's just
and
unresolved.
So
it's narratively unresolved, because we were beginning to really look at the Hunter Biden stuff, and now that's done. It's off the table.
Well, it's time to move on. It's all good for us, mental health wise. Move on. Next up on Rising, Elon Musk trashes President Trump's one big, beautiful bill. We'll tell you why.